Over the last 30 years, upcharge, high-thrill, low-capacity rides have become more popular at parks. Two of the most popular rides of this type are SlingShots or reverse bungee rides, and SkyCoasters. While SkyCoasters are commonly called the safest ride in the industry, SlingShots have had tons of recorded accidents, many of which have been covered on this channel in the past. What has caused such a dramatic difference in the safety of these attractions? Let's start by examining SkyCoasters. These rides were first designed in the early 1990s as a safer alternative to bungee jumping. These rides consist of a flight tower and a launch tower. Cables are suspended from the flight tower where riders in specially designed flight suits are secured with a set of industrial carabiners. A launch cable is attached to the launch tower that attaches to the secured riders and hauls them to the top of the launch tower by use of an electric winch equipped with a system that will only allow it to move at a slow speed. Riders, once at the top of this tower, pull a ripcord that disconnects them from the launch tower and allows them to fall and swing out in front of and behind the flight tower. This occurs for roughly 6 to 8 swings before the riders grab a loop to slow down. Once slowed, a platform is raised and the riders are unloaded. They then remove their flight suits outside the ride area. Slingshot or reverse bungee rides were first developed in the late 1970s, also as an alternative to bungee jumping, with them really taking off in popularity in the 1990s. These rides work by having a rider capsule between two tall towers. The rider capsule is attached to the towers by a part steel cable, part bungee cord. When the ride is ready to start, the rider capsule will be locked to the ground by a mechanical hook or electromagnet. The steel cables will be pulled up and into the towers by winches inside of the towers. This causes the bungee cords attached to the rider capsule and steel cables to tension. Once the cords are fully tensioned, the hook or electromagnet will detach and the rider vehicle will be sent soaring into the sky. It will then bounce erratically before settling down. The rider vehicle will then be lowered to the ground by the winches letting the steel cable back out. This design has an obvious weakness in the bungee cords, as if one of these were to fail, the rider capsule will be sent flying uncontrollably. To really get into this comparison, let's look at the manufacture of these two rides. Slingshots are made by a variety of different manufacturers, with the three most popular being the Italian Technical Park, American Gravity Works, and Austrian Funtime. The versions made by Funtime are considerably safer than those made by Technical Park or Gravity Works, as they use a pair of steel cables on each side and they use a spring box for tension rather than bungee cords. These manufacturers provide about the same amount of guidance and oversight over their rides that the average ride manufacturer does for any other ride, providing a few recommended operator practices as well as some general maintenance information. They do not usually have direct oversight over every installation, and much of the ride's operation is left to the ride's owner. SkyCoasters, on the other hand, only have one main manufacturer, SkyCoaster. Funny enough, SkyCoaster is actually part of the Ride Entertainment Group, of which Funtime is also a member. SkyCoaster goes above and beyond for every installation of their ride, providing detailed instructions on maintenance and operation. They also oversee the installation of each and every ride installed, as well as monitor any changes that occur near the ride. It's also important to mention that while only the Funtime Slingshot features redundant steel cables, all SkyCoasters feature these, leaving no room for worn-out elastic bungees to cause a serious accident. Now let's talk about operations. Slingshot manufacturers provide minimal guidance on day-to-day operation, meaning that most training is left to the park or the owners of the ride. This is fine at some parks, but these rides when operated improperly can be a serious hazard, more so than other rides like roller coasters that are more intrinsically safe. The same is true about SkyCoasters, but SkyCoaster themselves recognize this. They require a representative of their company to be on site of all of their operating rides at all times. These representatives are trained through a site controller program. They are usually hired by the park but go through an extensive training by SkyCoaster that involves learning every aspect of the ride, including maintenance and unusual situation training. This means there's always a knowledgeable representative of the ride's manufacturer on site observing every SkyCoaster flight. This has the effect of ensuring that every SkyCoaster flight is done in accordance with the manufacturer specifications, regardless of how the rest of the park is operated. Moving on to manufacturer follow-up and support. Most Slingshot manufacturers provide little to no support or technical help to Slingshot owners, leaving many on their own. Many also permit owners to make minor modifications to their rides without consulting them. Funtime is the only exception here, as they do not allow this and have the same support and oversight of installations of their rides as SkyCoaster. SkyCoaster is known to keep a close pulse on their installed rides, tracking issues and prohibiting most modifications, even going so far as to require their consultation for the placement of items near the flight line of their rides. They also address issues quickly. In the early 2000s, SkyCoaster operators were getting into trouble for stunting, or wearing flight suits backwards or in other configurations that were not approved by SkyCoaster, with at least one serious accident involving an operator occurring in this time. SkyCoaster quickly revised their training to include information about stunting and its risks. For comparison, a Gravity Works reverse bungee ride in 1998 in Ontario suffered a serious accident when the entire rider capsule was detached from the bungees and fell to the ground, killing the rider inside. This was caused by the connection from the bungees to the rider vehicle being changed to spring-loaded carabiners by the ride's owner. The ride's manufacturer, Gravity Works, claimed they were aware of the modification and considered it minor. It was later revealed that Gravity Works had no qualified engineers working for them at the time. Finally, let's examine the rider restraints. SlingShots, being made by a variety of different manufacturers, also feature a variety of different restraints. The models made by Funtime are not surprisingly the safest, featuring redundant hydraulic over-the-shoulder restraints with a seatbelt. Unfortunately, most other SlingShots feature 4 or 5-point seatbelts or an over-the-shoulder restraint that can be easily unlocked, or both. As you can see, there's no standard in the design of these restraints, with many of these designs not even being ASTM compliant. SkyCoasters, on the other hand, all have the exact same restraint options, with 5 different flight suits fitting riders as small as 42 inches or 106 centimeters. Some SkyCoasters also offer the Sky Sled, an option created by SkyCoaster that allows riders to sit upright safely while riding. All of these flight suits are made by SkyCoaster and are regularly inspected and replaced by them, with every flight suit required to be taken out of service after 5 years to the day that it was put into service. Compare this to some SlingShot seatbelts, which regularly appear worn and in poor shape. To conclude, SkyCoasters and SlingShots both have more inherent risk due to their design. SkyCoaster works hard to mitigate these risks in every aspect of their design, operation, and other areas. They continue to be one of the safest ways to experience the thrills of bungee jumping and one of the safest rides in the industry. SlingShots have had a muddy history and continue to have accidents pretty much every year. Though the Funtime version of the SlingShot is nearly as safe as the SkyCoaster has always been one of the safest rides ever made since its original installation. What ride do you prefer? To learn more about the danger of elastic SlingShots, check out these videos on my channel. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.